All right, everyone. So I've been playing a ton of Gears of War Reloaded. You can actually click in the description below for a link to our Gears of War channel that we started. So that's going to be all of our Gears of War content over there. But I just have played a ton of it. Okay. I think we're about rank 40 or 50 at this point. I'd have to go look, but I'm in between somewhere there. Played a lot of King of the Hill. And so I wanted to do this video as this isn't really my final thoughts on it. It's kind of my final thoughts on it, but there's still so much more I'm gonna be playing it that my guess is this will evolve and maybe we'll come back and do another video a year later or something like that. All I could say is that Gears of War Reloaded is everything that I wanted it to be. And I understand there were some technical problems with Steam users. There were, various things that people weren't happy about. And this game is not perfect by any means. But I also kind of understood when I bought this game the experience that I was expecting. Meaning when you have Gears of War E-Day coming out supposedly next year. That's the game where, okay, we're not just looking for that old fashioned Gears of War experience, but we're looking for the best Gears of the series, right? That's what you want. That's the mainline game. This game felt to me like the foundation of getting people hyped and getting them back into kind of playing the Gears of War series again and giving them something that will get you to E-Day. And I just think it delivers in every way, shape, or form. We talk a lot on this channel about battle passes and kind of the state of modern gaming. And one of the things that frustrates me the most about modern gaming is this idea of, well, we want to extend our playtime out as long as possible. And I understand some old games did this too, but like every multiplayer game, it's like, well, not only, and I'm not against battle passes in every, instance. I think a lot of them are really cool, but every game has this battle pass. And so it's so grindy of you're grinding for all these little things. And there's all these little things that nobody really cares about that you're getting, but you're just grinding until the end when you get the thing you actually care about. And you're almost playing just to do that. This game has that old-fashioned multiplayer feel of I'm just sitting there enjoying myself, and there are unlocks, okay? You do get characters, and I think that's added in most of them because I don't remember. I mean, I know Gears of War 2 had a lot of characters, but it was nowhere near what this is, and so my guess is Gears of War 1 didn't have this level of characters. There are weapon skins, which I think are super cool. They've added a bunch of those into this game too on top of it. There's a large selection of game modes. I think the competitive modes, they've kind of, and I don't want to say this 100% because I haven't played those enough, but it doesn't feel the same as kind of the regular. Like I'm just always playing the regular games, not really the competitive, because what happens is when people quit, you're stuck because no one can join those games live. I've just had a ton of fun with King of the Hill and Team Deathmatch, really. And so that aspect of it, I understand it's not perfect, it's not fully fleshed out, but for the main parts of the game, right, the parts that I'm playing, it's just that old-fashioned multiplayer experience where I'm sitting there for hours and hours and hours and hours playing the game. And I love how, you actually get more XP if you stay in a lobby over and over and over again. So I can kind of just sit there in the same lobby for like an hour. Now people do quit and, sometimes it feels like when you actually sit in a lobby, people don't join as quick as if you just quit out and started matchmaking again, which I do find a little bit annoying because it's like, okay, you're incentivizing us to stay in these lobbies with the XP, but it also means that we might be waiting longer than if we just started matchmaking again. So your incentive structures are kind of backwards in a sense, right? Which is a very minor critique, but it's just something to point out. But the overall thoughts on the game are just this is exactly what it needed to be. And I don't know if this is the game right here that like is going to get everybody hooked on Gears of War completely, but I do think it's doing enough that it's going to get people to buy E-Day. And specifically if E-Day, I don't know if they've confirmed it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the PS5. And if that's the case, then Gears of War Reloaded, I think, has completed its main task, which is you are the opening kind of game for PlayStation players, right? This is their chance to finally get to play Gears of War. And now that they're doing that, they're going to be even more excited to give that next game is a shot. I think sometimes, and even I did this a little bit, I was kind of viewing Reloaded as like, oh, maybe this is going to be the thing that really takes Gears of War back to the mainstream in a big way. And it's not that it's not a big name game still. It is. But it's just not what it was in Gears 2 when it was like it was up there with the Call of Duties, the Battlefields. Like that was kind of the stranglehold that it had. And so in that sense, I think Gears of War Reloaded wasn't set up to do that. It was set up to be the next game that gets you to E-Day, and then E-Day is going to have to be that game that delivers in that way. And hopefully it does. But this, like I said, there's not much to complain about with this. It gives me everything I want. It gives me that fresh Gears of War experience on the maps that I know and love. And in the simple way that this game is played. Like it's just simplicity, right? It's the same stuff, right? You have the torque bow, the boom shot, the hammer of dawn, the grenade. You get the same thing over and over again on these different maps, and yet it still hits. And that's what used to be the beauty of Gears of War. It was just a freaking great time. And this game is just a freaking great time. We have to see what they do, but I think this did exactly what it needed to. I think PlayStation players are going to say, I cannot wait to play the newest version of this game. And the beauty of getting Gears of War 1 remastered is that hopefully that means Gears of War 2 will also be getting remastered. If we get that Gears of War 2 remaster, it's going to be the best time in quite some time for Gears of War players. So click below if you want to see our full kind of content on Gears of War Reloaded and all the future Gears of War games and some past. And we'll see you next time.